The villagers of Rendal always spoke in whispers when the mountains came into talk. Children were told to never wander near the Black Cliffs, for there, they said, lived the cursed offspring of the last dragon. Born of fire, raised in hate, the elders would say, their voices trembling. It remembers the wars of its parent. It remembers how men killed the great dragon. And it hates us all. The words sank into every child's heart. Whenever a shadow passed over the fields, people froze, fearing wings above. Whenever fire cracked in the hearth, they remembered fire that once fell from the skies. The dragon was gone, but its blood still lived. And that blood, they believed, hated humankind. One stormy night, the sky broke with thunder. The wind howled like wolves. Rain poured down, drowning the paths. In the chaos, a small child ran through the forest. Clothes torn, feet bare, heart filled with fear. He was no one's son anymore. His parents had fallen to sickness months ago, and the village had no place for orphans. They gave him scraps, harsh words, and at last turned him away. Now, with lightning tearing the sky, the boy had no home to return to. He stumbled deeper into the woods, chasing any place that might keep out the rain. Branches whipped at his face. Mud swallowed his steps. At last, his eyes caught the dark mouth of a cave, half hidden by rocks. Desperate, shivering, he crawled inside. The cave smelled of smoke and stone. The air was warm, almost too warm, as if fire had once lived there. The boy curled against the wall, clutching his arms tight. That was when he felt it. A breath. Slow, heavy, rumbling like the earth itself. His eyes widened. From the deeper dark of the cave, something shifted. 2 points of light opened, eyes, glowing gold, watching him. The child froze, his heart beating so hard he thought it would burst. He wanted to scream, but no sound came. The villagers' warnings rushed back into his mind, the cursed offspring. The beast that hates humans. The fire that never forgets. The glowing eyes blinked once. A low growl echoed through the cave. The boy trembled, waiting for claws, for fire, for death. But nothing came. The creature stayed where it was. Silent. Watching. The boy pressed himself against the stone. Minutes passed like hours. The storm outside raged on, but inside, only the sound of breathing filled the air. At last, exhaustion won. The boy's eyelids grew heavy. His body gave in. And though fear still burned in his chest, he drifted into sleep. When morning came, the storm was gone. Weak light spilled into the cave. The boy stirred, shivering. Something was beside him. He blinked. On the ground lay half of a roasted rabbit, still warm. His stomach twisted with hunger. He grabbed it, biting fast, but his eyes never left the shadows deeper in the cave. The golden eyes were still there, watching. The boy swallowed hard. His voice came out as a broken whisper. Why? The creature gave no answer. It only shifted, its great body hidden in the dark. A faint hiss of breath rolled through the air, warm and heavy. The boy finished the meat, still staring. When his belly was no longer empty, his fear softened just a little. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. If you wanted me dead, he said quietly, I think I would be dead already. The creature's eyes narrowed. A low rumble shook the stones. But again, it did not move. For the next hours, the boy remained in the cave. He had nowhere else to go. Every time he dared to glance at the golden eyes, they were still on him, unblinking. He spoke, not because he thought the creature would answer, but because silence pressed too heavy on his chest. My name is Laren, he whispered. The village doesn't want me. They say I'm too weak. Too small. The eyes blinked once, slow and steady. Laren hugged his knees. They say you hate all people. They say you want us gone. Is that true? The cave gave no reply, only the soft scrape of scales against stone. Laren sighed. His voice grew softer. If you hate me, then why did you leave me food? The eyes glowed brighter for a moment, as if fire had passed behind them. Then they dimmed again. Laren shivered, but not from cold. He pulled himself tighter into a ball. Sleep tugged at him again, though his heart still raced. That night, wolves prowled near the cave. Their howls pierced the forest. Laren's body stiffened. He had no strength left to fight them. From the cave's depths, the golden eyes vanished. A sound followed, massive wings unfolding. The wolves' howls turned to yelps of terror. Then silence. Laren's eyes widened. Slowly, the golden gaze returned to the cave, as if nothing had happened. The boy whispered into the dark. "You protected me." The creature gave no answer. But in that silence, Laren felt something strange. The fear in his chest still lived, yet beneath it, something warmer stirred. Perhaps, the legends were not the whole truth. Laren fell asleep in the cave for the second night, the golden eyes watching over him. And outside, the forest whispered with fear, for the cursed offspring of the dragon had allowed a human child to rest in its nest. The first light of dawn crept into the cave, spilling pale gold across jagged walls. Laren, the orphan child, awoke slowly, his body stiff from cold and hunger. He rubbed his arms, listening for any sound beyond his own breath. All he heard was silence, and a distant drip of water somewhere deeper in the cave. He sat up, blinking, and looked around cautiously. The creature's eyes, those glowing gold eyes, were still there in the shadow, watching him. But it did not move. Laren swallowed hard. He stood on shaky legs, stepped forward. The cave was larger than he realized. Tunnels branching off, high ceilings, stone pillars carved by time. His stomach growled. He looked at the half-eaten rabbit beside him. He moved toward it, but paused. The creature's eyes followed, always watching. He picked up the meat, ate quickly while glancing around. His heart beat loud in his ears. Once the food was gone, he cleared his throat. "Thank you," he whispered. Nothing but silence answered. In the days that followed, Laren stayed in the cave. He had no place else to go. The storm had driven him out, and now fear kept him from returning to the village. Outside, the forest was wild. Rain, wind, predators. Inside, the creature stayed silent, lurking in shadows. Laren tried to explore the cavern, moving step by step. He touched walls, found narrow corridors, even an underground stream. He discovered rose-colored crystals embedded in rock, their faint glow adding a soft light to the darkness. All the while, the creature watched. Laren slept in a corner of the main chamber, curling into himself. He kept a sharp eye on the darkness. He half expected claws, fire, a roar. But none came. One night, he heard a rustle at the cave's entrance. He froze. A pair of glowing eyes stared back at him, wolves, hungry, fierce. Their jaws snapped. Laren backed away, fear paralyzing him. He had no weapon. He could only hope. Then, from the dark deeper in the cave, a low growl rumbled. The wolves stiffened. Their ears pressed back. A vast shadow emerged, the creature, its wings folding out, spines along its back silhouetted. It stood between Laren and the wolves. The wolves lunged. The creature roared, a sound deeper than the thunder. The wolves fled. Laren watched, mouth open, frozen. The creature stood, tall and silent after the wolves ran off. The golden eyes fixed on Laren, not with malice, but something else he couldn't name. Laren swallowed, voice trembling. You saved me." No answer. Only the echo of wings folding and a faint exhale of breath. In the following days, Laren tested the boundary between fear and trust. He would leave food near the entrance, meat or berries, or place water in a bowl of stone. Then he would retreat and watch the creature. Often, morning revealed the food eaten, the bowl empty. No footprints, no signs of fighting. The creature must have taken it quietly. Laren would whisper to the dark. "You don't hate me?" No answer. But the eyes would shift. A flicker of gold in gloom. He even spoke his story to the shadows. How his mother died from fever, how his father died in a raid, how he wandered until the storm drove him into the cave. And every time, the creature listened. Silent, cautious, yet listening. The nights were hard. Laren shivered, pulled his cloak tighter. Sometimes he woke from nightmares, of fire, of dragons burning villages, of screams. He gasped awake, heart pounding, arms trembling. In those moments, he felt for the creature. He wanted it close, as protector, as guardian. One evening, as the fireflies flickered outside, Laren found a narrow tunnel leading upward. He climbed it, step by step, until he reached a ledge above the forest. Through a slit, he saw the village below, lights, smoke, people moving. He felt both desire and dread. He stayed only a moment, then retreated into the cave to hide. Back in the chamber, the creature watched him. Its golden eyes glowed brighter for a moment. Laren shivered, stepping away. But the creature did not strike. Laren, gathering courage, said softly, "I want to go back someday. I want I want to be among people again." The creature's head tilted. In the dim glow, Laren thought he saw sorrow in the eyes. At that moment, a distant trumpet blew, a far-off horn echoing through the mountains. Laren froze. What was that? The creature stiffened, scales rippling. It let out a low hiss, then spread its wings slightly. The air around them trembled. Laren's heart pounded. He backed away, uncertain. The creature moved forward, its wings half raised, its body blocking the inner tunnel where Laren came from. It was ready. Guarding. Laren swallowed. He watched the golden eyes. He knew then, the creature would protect him, even from unknown threats. That night, Laren slept, but not soundly. His dreams returned, darker now, hunters with torches, shouting men, the creature under attack. He woke gasping, sweat on his face, the cave cold. Yet he felt safer, somehow, knowing the guardian stood near. In the dark, the creature's silhouette moved close. For a moment, Laren thought it would retreat. Instead, it settled nearer, curling in a way that shielded him from the cold. The golden eyes softened, dimmed. Laren lay awake, staring into darkness, feeling a warmth he had never known, the presence of someone who did not hate him. He whispered, "Thank you." No words came back. Just silence. But in that silence, Laren knew something had changed between them. The cursed offspring had become his silent guardian. The forest outside whispered of fear. The villagers murmured, "Did the child die in the storm? Did the beast devour him?" No one dared approach the mountain. Inside the cave, Laren sat by the crystals, waiting for the creature. The golden eyes watched him, steady and strong. And so the bond grew, quiet, delicate, born of survival. The cursed offspring of the dragon had not destroyed the child. It had protected him. Days turned into weeks, and still Laren lived inside the mountain cave. What began as fear slowly grew into something else. He no longer woke expecting claws at his throat. He no longer counted every breath, waiting for fire. Instead, he waited for the golden eyes. The creature always stayed hidden in shadows, but it never left him alone. When wolves came near, it roared them away. When food was scarce, he found a rabbit left near his corner. When the nights grew too cold, the air grew warmer, as if fire itself lived nearby. Laren began to speak more, his voice echoing softly in the vast cavern. "I don't know why you helped me," he said one night, staring into the dark. "But I'm glad." The golden eyes blinked once. That was the only reply. One morning, Laren dared to move closer. He carried a piece of meat he had cooked over a small fire near the crystals. His hands shook, but he walked carefully toward the place where the golden eyes usually appeared. He placed the food on a flat rock. Then he stepped back. For a long while, nothing happened. Then, slowly, a shape emerged. Laren's breath caught. It was larger than he imagined, its body covered in black scales with a faint shimmer of red under the light. Its wings folded tightly against its back, and jagged horns curved along its head. A long scar crossed one of its eyes, though the eye still glowed strong and bright. The creature leaned forward, sniffed the food. A low growl rumbled through the cave, but it was not a growl of anger. It ate the meat in one bite, then lifted its head toward Laren. For the first time, they saw each other clearly. Laren trembled, but instead of running, he whispered, You're not a monster." The creature's chest rose and fell with slow, heavy breaths. Its gaze held not hatred, but sorrow. Days later, danger came. Laren was gathering berries near the mouth of the cave when voices echoed through the forest. Rough, cruel voices. He froze, heart pounding. Men appeared, mercenaries, armed with crossbows and spears. Their armor was dented and scarred, their eyes sharp with greed. "There it is," one muttered, pointing to the mountainside. "The dragon's den. Riches must be hidden inside." Laren gasped. He stepped back into the cave. He wanted to run deeper, but the men had already seen him. "A boy," one laughed. "Living here. He must know the way to the treasure." They raised their weapons. Laren shouted, "No. There is no treasure, leave us alone." The men ignored him. They moved closer. That was when the roar came. The ground shook. Stones rained from above. Out of the darkness, the dragon's offspring emerged, its wings spreading wide, filling the cave entrance. Its golden eyes burned like fire. The mercenaries stumbled back, but then grinned. "There it is. Kill it, and we'll be rich." Arrows flew. Spears hurled. The creature raised its wings, shielding Laren. Arrows bounced off the black scales, but one spear struck deep into its shoulder. It roared in pain, fire spilling from its mouth. The men screamed as flames consumed the ground. They scattered, some fleeing into the forest, others still firing arrows. Laren cried out, "Stop! Leave it alone!" He ran forward, standing in front of the beast. "It's not what you think. It's not evil." The mercenaries didn't listen. Another arrow flew, straight toward Laren. The dragon's offspring moved like lightning. It swung its massive tail, knocking the arrow aside. Then, with a blast of fire, it sent the mercenaries running for their lives. When the smoke cleared, silence fell again. The creature sank to the ground, blood dripping from its shoulder where the spear had pierced. Its chest rose and fell heavily. Laren ran to its side, tears in his eyes. "No, no, don't die. Please don't die." He touched the scales near the wound. The creature hissed, but did not move away. Laren pressed cloth from his torn shirt against the wound. His hands shook. He had never cared for anyone before, no one had ever let him. But now, he refused to let this guardian fall. "You saved me," he whispered. "Again. Why would you do that, if you hated me?" The creature's golden eye opened slowly, watching him. And for the first time, it lowered its head against the stone, close to Laren's tiny hands. Laren's fear broke. He placed his small hand on the scales, warm and rough under his touch. A strange feeling filled his chest. Not fear. Not loneliness. Something else. Something he had thought lost forever, trust. That night, Laren sat beside the wounded creature, refusing to leave. He told stories of his parents, of the village, of how he had always been unwanted. The creature listened in silence, its breath slow, its eye never leaving him. Laren looked at it and whispered, "Maybe you are cursed. Maybe I am too. But, maybe we don't have to be alone anymore." The golden eye blinked. And for the first time, Laren felt not like an orphan, but like he belonged. Far below in the village, rumors spread. Hunters returned wounded, whispering of fire and wings. "The dragon's offspring lives," they warned. "And now it keeps a child in its nest." The villagers shivered. Some called it a curse. Some said the boy was lost. Others said the beast had bewitched him. But none dared climb the mountain. For in that dark cave, a bond had been born, between a child and the last offspring of the dragon. A bond forged in fire. The village of Relling had always lived in the shadow of the mountain. People built their homes close together, as if walls and fire would protect them from the legends of old. For years, they had spoken of dragons with fear and hatred. They told children bedtime stories of burning skies and broken cities, warning them never to wander too far. But now, new whispers spread through every street. "The orphan lives," one farmer muttered at the well. "Not only lives," another added, lowering his voice, "but lives with the dragon's offspring." Men who had returned from the mountains carried wounds, their faces pale with terror. They spoke of black scales, glowing eyes, and fire that swallowed the ground. They claimed the creature had defended the child, shielding him as if he were family. The villagers gasped. Some cursed the beast. Others crossed themselves against evil. Mothers pulled their children closer, fearing curses might spread like sickness. An old woman spat into the dirt. "The boy is no longer one of us. The beast has claimed him. He will bring doom upon us all." Laren, far above in the cave, did not know these words. He spent his days tending the wounded shoulder of his protector. He found herbs in the forest, pressed them against the wound, and brought water from the stream. The dragon's offspring, though strong, had grown weak from blood loss. Yet it allowed Laren to touch it, to sit close, even to sleep against its warm side. Sometimes, when the firelight flickered, Laren thought he saw sadness in the creature's golden eyes. "Don't be afraid," he whispered. "I'll stay with you. I don't care what they say." The creature lowered its head in silence, but for the first time, it closed its eyes while the boy spoke, as if trusting his voice. Down in the village, the council gathered inside the wooden hall. Smoke from torches filled the air, and the mood grew heavy. "The beast is alive," said the leader, a man with a thick grey beard. "And it grows bold. It has taken the orphan into its nest. If it truly keeps him, then it will come for others next." "Then we must kill it," another cried. "Strike now, before it grows stronger." "But the boy," someone whispered. "He is still human. Still one of us." No, the grey-bearded man growled. The moment he stepped into that cave, he chose death. Or worse. The hall grew silent. Fear filled every heart, but so did anger. To them, fear was safer when wrapped in steel. That night, Leren dreamed of fire. He saw the village burning, people screaming, and himself standing between the flames. But the fire did not hurt him, it wrapped around him like a shield. When he woke, the creature was watching him. Its wound was healing, but its gaze carried warning. As if it too sensed what was coming. Leren swallowed hard. "They won't understand," he whispered. "They only see you as a monster." The creature let out a low growl, deep and sad. It did not need words. Days later, Leren heard voices outside the cave. Not the greedy laughter of mercenaries, this time it was louder, harsher. Torches burned in the distance. The glow of fire moved along the mountain path. The villagers had come. Leren's heart raced. He ran to the cave mouth and saw them climbing with spears, axes, and bows. His stomach twisted with fear. "No," he whispered. "They'll kill you." Behind him, the dragon's offspring rose slowly, wings spreading despite its wound. Smoke curled from its nostrils. It had no intention of fleeing. Leren turned to it, tears in his eyes. "Please, you have to go. Hide deeper in the mountain, don't fight them." The creature's golden eyes softened, almost like a silent answer. It lowered its head close to him, as if saying, "I will not leave you." The villagers reached the edge of the cave. Their leader stepped forward, torchlight shining against his grey beard. "There it is," he shouted. "The cursed offspring of the dragon. Kill it before it brings ruin." Arrows were raised. Spears were aimed. Leren ran in front of the cave entrance, arms spread wide. His voice cracked, but he shouted with all his strength. "No! Stop! Please! It's not what you think, it saved me. It's not evil." The villagers hesitated. They saw the boy, his clothes torn, his face thin, but his eyes filled with fire. "Step aside, boy," the leader commanded. "That beast bewitched you. We will free you from its curse." "I'm not cursed," Leren cried. "I'm alive because of it. It cares for me, it protected me." Laughter rippled through the crowd, bitter and cruel. "No beast cares for humans," a woman hissed. "It only waits to eat you last." The villagers lifted their weapons again. Behind Leren, the dragon's offspring let out a thunderous roar, shaking the mountain. Flames danced in its throat, lighting the dark cave with deadly glow. Leren stood between them, trembling, his heart caught between two worlds. The night grew heavy with silence, broken only by the crackle of torches and the sound of wings unfolding. The battle had not yet begun, but the air itself felt ready to explode. And Leren knew, if he could not stop them, blood would cover the mountain. The night on the mountain turned red with torchlight. The villagers stood at the cave mouth, their weapons raised, their eyes burning with fear and anger. At their front, the grey-bearded leader gripped his spear tight. "Kill the beast," he roared. Arrows flew. Leren screamed, "No!" He threw himself in front of the cave, but the dragon's offspring moved first. With a single sweep of its massive wings, it shielded him, the arrows bouncing off its thick scales. Some clattered against stone, others broke in the air, but one lodged deep into its wing. The beast roared, fire spilling from its jaws, and the mountain trembled under its voice. The villagers did not stop. They surged forward with spears and axes, shouting, "For the village! For our children!" Leren ran between them, his arms wide, tears in his eyes. "Please! Listen to me! It saved me! It saved me!" But no one listened. The grey-bearded leader raised his spear, pointing straight at the creature. "The boy is lost. Strike!" The first villager reached the cave, swinging his axe. The dragon's offspring struck back with its tail, the blow throwing the man into the dirt. Two more charged, spears flashing. The beast twisted, fire blasting across the ground, forcing the villagers to leap back. Flames lit the night. Shadows danced across the mountain walls. Screams filled the air. Leren stood frozen, caught in the middle of chaos. Every time he tried to run forward, someone pulled him back. Every time he tried to shout, his voice was swallowed by the clash of steel and the roar of fire. The beast fought with fury but also with restraint. Its fire swept the earth, but never touched Leren. Its claws struck the ground, but never the boy. Every move screamed of protection, not destruction. Still, the villagers pressed harder. Arrows pierced the creature's side. Spears slashed across its legs. Blood, dark and steaming, dripped onto the stone floor. Leren's heart shattered. "Stop! Please stop! You'll kill it!" The grey-bearded leader raised his spear again and charged straight for the beast's heart. Leren's eyes widened. "No!" He leapt forward, grabbing the shaft of the spear with both hands. The leader's strength nearly threw him aside, but Leren refused to let go. "You'll kill him," he cried. "Know him," the leader spat. "It's a monster." But then, as the leader tried to push past the boy, the dragon's offspring roared and lunged. Its massive head swept downward, knocking the spear aside. Flames burst upward, a wall of fire cutting off the villagers from the cave. The people stumbled back, coughing and cursing. Leren turned, his chest heaving. The beast was bleeding badly now, its body marked with wounds. It staggered, lowering its head to the ground. "No, please, stay with me," Leren whispered. His hands shook as he touched the warm scales. "Don't leave me. You're all I have." The creature's golden eyes flickered, dimmer than before. And then, as if answering his desperate cry, something pulsed in the cave behind them. A faint glow spread across the stones, lighting the walls with crimson light. Leren turned, gasping. At the far end of the cavern lay a strange relic, half buried in rock, glowing like a heart made of fire. It pulsed with every beat, alive with ancient power. The villagers saw it too. Their eyes widened with greed. "The dragon's treasure," someone shouted. "It's real." "No!" Leren cried. "It's not for you." He ran toward the relic, stumbling across the stone. The glow grew brighter the closer he came. It wasn't gold or jewels, it was a shard, a fragment of something greater. A piece of the dragon's very heart. As Leren touched it, warmth flooded his body. He gasped, the light rushing through his hands, his arms, his chest. It felt like fire, but it did not burn. It felt alive. Behind him, the beast roared again, as if it too felt the power awaken. The villagers screamed in fear. "He's cursed! The boy is cursed!" But Leren felt no curse. He felt strength. He felt the same warmth that had always kept him safe in the cave. The relic pulsed in his hands, and the dragon's offspring staggered forward, its golden eyes blazing brighter. The wounds along its body began to glow, sealed by fire. Its wings spread wide, whole once more. The villagers stumbled back, fear replacing anger. What is this?" one whispered. Leren stood, holding the glowing relic close to his chest. His eyes, once filled with tears, now burned with light. "This is not a curse," he said, his voice steady. "This is the truth." The dragon's offspring stepped beside him, towering above with fire swirling in its throat. But this time, it did not roar in rage. It simply spread its wings, unbroken and whole, as if declaring, "The child is mine, and I am his." The villagers trembled, torn between fear and awe. The grey-bearded leader dropped his spear, his face pale. And in that moment, for the first time, the mountain was silent. The mountain grew quiet after the roar of fire and clash of steel. The villagers stood frozen, their torches flickering in the night wind. Before them, the dragon's offspring stood tall, wings spread wide, its wounds glowing with strange light. And beside it, the orphan boy held the relic close to his chest, its fiery glow pulsing like a heartbeat. No one dared move. The grey-bearded leader trembled, his spear forgotten on the ground. He had fought many battles, but never had he seen such power, nor a child standing unburned in the middle of it. Leren's small voice broke the silence. "You all said it hated humans. You said it would destroy us." His hand shook, but his words were strong. "But it saved me. Again and again. It protected me when no one else would." "Does that sound like hate?" The villagers shifted uneasily. Some lowered their weapons. Some looked away in shame. The boy stepped forward, the glow of the relic lighting his face. "You call it a monster. But you were ready to kill without listening, without seeing. Maybe the real monsters are not the ones with scales." His words cut deep. Mothers clutched their children, men lowered their bows, and silence spread heavier than stone. Behind him, the dragon's offspring let out a slow rumble, not of rage but of strength. Its golden eyes burned brighter than before, but in them there was no hatred, only watchfulness. Leren turned and pressed his forehead gently against its scales. "They don't understand," he whispered. "But I do. You're not alone anymore." The beast lowered its head, a sound like a sigh rolling from its chest. For the first time, it allowed the boy to rest fully against its side in front of all who watched. The villagers murmured among themselves. Some still muttered of curses, of danger. But others began to see something different. They saw the way the beast leaned into the boy's touch. They saw the warmth in the child's eyes. And they saw the relic glow not with destruction but with life. Finally, the grey-bearded leader stepped back. His voice was low, heavy with defeat. "We came to kill, but perhaps we were blind." He turned to the others. "Go home. Tonight, no more blood will be spilled." The villagers hesitated, but one by one, they lowered their weapons and began the long walk down the mountain. Their torches dimmed in the distance until only stars remained. Laren sat beside the beast as the last flames of battle faded. The relic's glow slowly dimmed, but its warmth stayed inside him, like a heartbeat he could always feel. "You're safe now," he whispered. "We're safe." The dragon's offspring blinked slowly, lowering its head to the ground. The fight had drained it, yet there was peace in its eyes. Laren curled up beside it, resting in the warmth of its scales. For the first time in his life, he did not feel like an orphan. He felt like he had found home. Days turned to weeks. The villagers spoke less of curses and more of questions. Children whispered of the brave boy and the golden-eyed guardian. Some called him cursed still, but others began to wonder if the old legends were wrong. Up on the mountain, in the dark cave, a new life grew. Laren gathered food, herbs, and wood. He learned to understand the beast's growls and movements, when it was hungry, when it was tired, when it was simply watching the skies. He laughed when it startled at rabbits and whispered comfort when storms shook the cave. The dragon's offspring healed slowly, but with each day, its steps grew stronger. And always, the boy remained by its side. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the peaks, painting the sky red and gold, Laren sat at the cave mouth with the creature beside him. The mountains stretched endless before them, the world wide and open. "They said you hated all humans," Laren whispered. "But they were wrong. You just hated the pain they brought. And I hated being alone. But now, we're not alone anymore." The dragon's offspring lowered its massive head and nudged him gently, almost like a parent with its child. Laren smiled, tears in his eyes. "Maybe this cave isn't a curse. Maybe it's a nest. Our nest." That night, stars filled the sky like scattered fire. The boy slept soundly against warm scales, while the beast watched over him with glowing golden eyes. And though the world below still feared and whispered, here in the mountain, a truth stronger than legend was born. The dragon's offspring did not hate all. It only needed one child to remind it what love could be.